Here we are. You know what? That was decently interesting, and I'm quite excited there. Let's maybe just go through it as they discussed it, and we'll have a talk about everything that's been revealed. Obviously, the very first thing that Leroy is explaining here is we're not getting the match replay and we're not getting the ping system yet. I think it's kind of understandable given the situation we've been in, given that all the devs have been working from home. So yeah, that makes sense. And you know what? I'm not concerned about that at all, not worried in any way. The two new operators. Let's start out with Ace. He's the attacker. And I mean, I kind of feel he's a lot like Hibana in terms of sort of the openings he creates, except that I guess because his gadget, the Selma, attaches and then falls down and then blows up another square, it's like almost all three Hibanas, there we can see it going on right now, it's like all three Hibana charges, except they go one after another, and that's with a single charge, and he has three of those. So I think he kind of feels like a little bit more powerful than Hibana, because he can theoretically open 3 times the amount of wall compared to her. Obviously, it's slower, and it's thrown rather than a launcher, which fires straight, and she can technically use it from an infinite distance. But yeah, like that to me feels more powerful than Hibana. The hatches, okay, that's a drawback, that you have to use two charges essentially to blow open a hatch. That's not that great, but at the same time, you can use it to take out gadgets. So that is quite powerful again. When it comes to the weapons, yeah, an AK-12 with an ACOG on, I think he's a 2-speed, right? I think he has to be. They didn't explicitly mention it. We'll see it when we get to the loadout part. But to me, like, the AK-12 is one of the most underrated and underused guns in the game, because so far we've only had access, obviously, to this gun on Fuse and only with the Russian sites. Not everyone loves the Russian sites. They're a bit different. And Fuse himself, being a 1-speed 3-armor operator, he's a bit of a challenge to use as well. So I almost worry, like I said this months ago, the moment they bring this gun onto a 2-speed operator, or the moment they change Fuse to become 2-speed, is literally going to be the moment that the AK-12 turns into the new F2, so which is Twitch's gun. Because Twitch's gun, if you've been playing the game for a while, you know it's been nerfed, and nerfed again, and nerfed again, and it just keeps getting nerfed, because that was the reason why people started playing Twitch. She became a fragger rather than a utility operator, and yeah, I mean, once we have an operator who can move a bit faster than Fuse can, the AK-12, it's fast firing. It does a massive amount of damage, unless they nerf it, which they didn't mention. We'll have to go and check that once this goes out on the test server. It might well be the new F2, and we might see issues there in future. Definitely interesting to see. Then he has the M1014 as a semi-automatic shotgun. Okay, yeah, shotguns on an attacker, I'm not a huge fan. Most people, if you do play shotguns, you prefer, let's say at least, to do that on defense, because then you're in control of your gunfights, you're in control of where you want to engage the enemy. As an attacker, you kind of have to push in, you have to take the gunfights that the defenders offer to you, and that means you're not always in control of the distance, and shotguns are just, they're horrendous weapons at longer distance, unless they're slug guns, of course. So I think probably, I mean, you have an option of possibly the best assault rifle, the best full auto gun in the game right now, unless it gets nerfed, and then a shotgun. I think we're almost exclusively going to see the AK-12 when people are playing him seriously, at least. P9 is a perfectly mediocre weapon as a sidearm. I'm all right with that. And then he gets breaching charges for extra soft destruction, or smoke grenades, which can be very powerful. Yeah, he almost does feel like a Hibana 2.0. There's a few little drawbacks, but otherwise he can do what Hibana can. He can do it partially better. and he has an amazing gun. Like, I think he's definitely going to be more of an impact than so many of the other operators we've seen over the last year, which were kind of like, not that great. So there is that. I'm seeing a lot of Fs in chat. I'm hoping there's nothing specifically wrong with my audio or anything. Is it just the content? Is it just the fact that we're putting in Fs for Hibana? That's fair enough. I hope. Do tell me if there's anything up with that. Other than that, let's move on to Melusi. I guess we'll get to the footage in the background. In fact, this is already it. So she is, oof, I don't know what to think. I've not played her yet, so basically everything I mention is based on what I've seen just now and what I've heard before. But yeah, I'm worried. I'm honestly a bit worried. I was speaking to developers seasons ago, a long time ago, and they mentioned to me that Clash is not an operator they're very happy with. She's an underperforming operator. So since her introduction, Clash has been one of the worst operators in the game in terms of her ability to win matches, but at the same time, players find her really frustrating to play against. Players hate playing against Clash, and one of the reasons identified by Ubisoft when they reached out to players and asked them, what is it you hate about Clash? It's the fact that she affects your ability to move. She takes away your agency as an attacker. That is the thing that players really don't enjoy, the fact that a gadget can affect the way you play the game. And it's the same for any operator that has things that blind you or stun you or mess with your sensitivity, anything like that. So why am I talking about Clash as an underperforming and yet very frustrating operator? Well, the Banshee system essentially is like a mixture of Clash and barbed wire. It's Clash and barbed wire, but also the bulletproof cameras. It's something you place down. It's a big device you attach to the wall, and then you just do whatever you want for the entire round. You can roam, you can anchor, you can do whatever you want. And if an attacker gets within 6 meters of this device, of the Banshee device, it goes off. It will make a sound, so like barbed wire, it will alert the defenders to your presence if you're an attacker, and then it slows you down and it gives you sort of this shake that makes it harder to aim. So it's got an effect like Clash and barbed wire in terms of slowing you down and shaking you, and then it also makes a noise. It's all of the frustration with Clash, and yet all you have to do is place it down and then walk away. Like, literally anyone can put those devices down in the prep phase, and it doesn't matter what happens after that. You can try to spawn peek and die in the first 10 seconds. It doesn't matter. Those devices are there, and because they work just like bulletproof cameras, they're quite difficult and quite challenging to deal with, right? You have to take them out either with explosives, or you have to get close to them to melee them. That is not easy. Even Thatcher and Twitch will only disable these devices, so as long as there's a defender close by enough, they're going to be really difficult to take out. And yeah, I mean, the pro players have been complaining sort of for the last season about what they call the 20-second meta, which basically means there's so much defender utility right now that you have to spend the entire round clearing everything out as an attacker, and then you only have 20 seconds right at the very end to try and execute an attack on the site. And this is just one more defender gadget that feeds into that meta. It slows you down, it's frustrating, it's really hard to deal with, you're going to need explosives or whatever, and obviously if there's a Wamai or a Jaeger, even explosives might not be enough, it could be defended. Like, I can see these devices being useful to the defenders, but also having a potential to be really, really frustrating. So, yeah, I'm surprised. when I spoke to the developers about Clash, they specifically told me we're not happy with the way she works, we're not happy that she's frustrating, and we're not happy that she's actually underperforming. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to change Clash, or they were thinking about changing Clash to make her more skillful to use, so that you have to actually aim at the attacker to slow them down rather than just everyone in front of you getting slowed down. That was number one. And they also wanted to maybe change the way it works so that as long as you're pushing forward, Clash can slow you down, but if you retreat, you can go at full speed. So you can move sideways and backwards at normal speed, but pushing forward is going to be slower. That was sort of the ideas of nerfing Clash, making her less frustrating. And then that's not happened, but instead we're getting a gadget that has all of the frustration and zero challenge. Like, Clash, you can argue, is not that challenging anyway because you're bulletproof unless you get flanked, and it's very challenging. Like, you need a coordinated attacker team to deal with her. And now you have these devices which are just placed down, and that's it. It couldn't be easier to use. I'm concerned. I'm worried. Like, that could be an awful lot of not fun to deal with. And I'm surprised that the developers who told me their thoughts on Clash, who know about these frustrations, have basically made Clash that you can stick onto a wall where there's no risk at all for the player. Yeah, if it gets destroyed, it gets destroyed, but nothing else happens. That is bonkers. And yeah, I mean, I've not played her yet. We shall see how it works and how it goes. And obviously there's always time to tweak her, but my prediction is concern. Yeah, I'm concerned. That's all I can say. Her loadout, the T5, that's basically Legion's gun. Very, very usable. So no issues there. Super 90, that was buffed a few seasons ago for Frost. So it's not the way it was when Frost was launched, but it's still there. And here we have the confirmation, yeah. It's 2 speed, 2 armor, and he's getting an AK-12 with an ACOG. That was one note from earlier, but going back to Melusi, RG-15, it's a weak pistol, but it has a really cool sight, and then impact grenades, and the very powerful deployable shield. She is going to be very, very useful, I feel, and if you're playing at a very high level, and especially for the pro players, where you're dealing with a lot of defender utility already, this is just one extra little bit. That's all it is. It's just even more stuff to deal with before you can execute an attack. So we shall see. We shall see. I'm gonna wait and see how it goes. But yeah, let's color me concerned. Let's put it that way. House rework. We've seen a lot of footage in that running out or about that running in the background. Yeah, I'm excited, I have to say. I'm really interested to see the new house. I'm especially interested in how it's developed in that it's still house, but what used to be construction site has been changed, I think, into an additional children's bedroom. That's really cool. They've done some work on the outside of the house. They've extended it to add new rooms, hobby rooms and stuff like that. There's new rotations, different bomb sites. They made it very clear this isn't a Pro League map. It's not going to be, it's probably not even going to be in ranked as I understand it. It's still a casual map. It's still a fun map. But the idea is to keep the map as it is, to keep sort of that nostalgia, but have a map that is more fun to play, with less flaws, with less exploits, with less balancing issues. And I personally, I'm all for that. I think this looks good. I'm excited to play it for the first time, and I've spoken to people who have played it, and they're excited for it. So, all in all, I'm interested to see House. I think that's a good move, and yeah, that looks good stuff there. So maybe to talk about some of the final points, and what we'll then go into is maybe a bit of a discussion. If we can get some questions, but we'll get to that in a second. Let me maybe then first go through the sort of gameplay changes, and then the other operators and gadgets they mentioned, and some of them that they didn't mention, which I'm actually surprised about. So they're fixing ranked, at least to a degree, in that now if you want to play ranked at all, you have to be level 50. And also, if you want to get into the Champions rank, you have to play at least 100 matches, and the idea is to make it a little bit harder for cheaters to get into ranked. That's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing because that's where most of the cheaters are. They're in ranked and they're at high levels within ranked. Blocking them from getting into ranked all too quickly, will that mean that maybe more cheaters are in unranked until they get into ranked, until they reach that level 50? Hopefully not. But that could be an unwanted side effect, so a little bit of concern there. But all in all, dealing with that is a good thing. And also, at the same time, they're working on MMR, so instead of having 3 regions, each with their own rank, each with their own MMR, and leaving a little bit of room for exploitation where people could maybe in their own region try hard and play the game properly, but then they would smurf in a different region and go down to copper and stuff like that. That's obviously unfortunate, and that's something they're going to want to avoid as well. So now there's one MMR for all regions, and the champions rank will be a worldwide rank. So if you get into those champion ranks, that means against all regions, not just players in your region. That's cool to see. Definitely interesting to see. I personally don't really grind ranked very hard. It's not something that interests me, especially because that's where you find all the problems. That's where you find the cheaters. That's where you find the people exploiting glitches. That's where you find the boosting. I can play the same game in unranked and be happy there without all the nonsense, without all the tryharding. And yeah, for me, that's perfectly fine. So I don't think this will affect me an awful lot, but it's a good thing for those who take ranked seriously to have that opportunity to play with a little bit more integrity, let's put it that way. We'll get the proximity alert. We saw that as an additional gadget. I find that interesting that the proximity alert is coming in at the same time as Melusi's Banshee gadget, because they're kind of a little bit similar. It's something you stick on a wall and it goes off and alerts you. Obviously, Melusi's gadget far more powerful at being able to slow down and being much harder to destroy, and it can't be hidden as well. You have to stick it to a wall rather than being able to throw it. But yeah, there we have it. We're getting the proximity alert as well, which is interesting. So it's a tiny noisemaker that you can attach anywhere. It's quite easy to spot once you know where it is, but it is relatively small compared to other gadgets. Maybe a little bit more like Ella's gadget, I guess. A little bit larger, but definitely easier to spot than these monstrosities on screen right now. They mentioned Cav is getting one, and Mirror, so the idea is it's for roamers as well as anchors. Yep, roamers can use it maybe for an ambush, anchors can use it to cover their back. Definitely an interesting gadget to see, and you know what? More gadgets, more secondary gadgets is a good thing, I think, overall. Just having more diversity, more choice in terms of the gameplay. Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm really excited, and I think that's a great move that they're making the effort to add a little bit more diversity there. Now, the stuff about Amaru, actually, I'm going to fast forward here to Amaru. We're not far off it, but I want to leave that running in the background as I'm discussing it, because boy, that was cool. I am interested. Like Amaru, is it? I think it starts around about here. I'm gonna go from here. Amaru up until now has been a lackluster operator, to say the least. You couldn't actually use her gadget for an assault at all. You could use it to maybe get onto a roof very quickly and get quickly into an angle where maybe the defenders aren't expecting you yet, but going through a window, going through a hatch was pointless, literally pointless, because the way it worked is it would open up the hatch, it would make a lot of noise. Oh, it makes me laugh. It would make a lot of noise, and all you had to do was just pre-fire, and literally the chance of Amaru killing you was virtually zero. It was almost zero. There was no chance you had to defend yourself if you are Amaru, right? You're pretty slow. The window's already open. Everyone knows you're coming, and then you have to land first before you bring your gun up. It made her, yeah, just impossible to use and of zero value in serious gameplay. If you wanted to have some fun, yeah, just play some Amaru if you want. But other than that, she was a literally pointless operator. Now, she is faster. The hatches and barricades don't break beforehand. We can see it right here. Like, literally, you can hear maybe the glass breaking and there's a little bit of something going on. But literally, she just bursts through the window and then she has a gun almost instantly up in your face and shooting you. That is nuts. That is really cool. I'm excited about that. Could it be too frustrating if she just suddenly appears in front of you and murders you? I hope not. I sincerely hope that won't be the case, and I'm almost confident to say that it won't. It looked okay, so hopefully it will be. I'm gonna just take us back just a little bit, and we'll watch that again. There we go. Actually, we'll just let it run from the point where we had the proximity alerts. So it will make her more useful. The fact that you don't have to shoot a hatch open beforehand, you can just burst right through it, and you've got your gun right there. The fact that you can come through windows and be a bit more aggressive with her, that's really cool. Obviously, you can still hear a little bit of an attachment. If you're paying attention, you can still defend it. So hopefully it won't be too oppressive for defenders. But at the same time, I'm hoping that if you're looking for some casual fun, you can just use her exactly for that and just do some crazy nonsense. So I'm looking forward to what Bikini and Co can do with her. Really, yeah, I'm happy to see that. That's unexpected, and that's really cool. What we saw right at the end there was weapon attachment skins. The first things first, like I said, more customization is always cool. Obviously it's more impactful if it's actual customization in terms of the gadgets or guns, but yeah, visual customization, that's nice. The first three skins were sort of a beige sand color, a gray, and a black, and they're free for everyone, automatically unlocked. That's cool, that's a nice move, but I think let's also not kid ourselves that this, in the long run, is an opportunity, let's put it that way, for more monetization. More skins means more monetization opportunity, and I think that's not what they said, that's not the way they introduced it, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that's the main point. That is what they're after, is another potential source of revenue. And man, I get it, the game needs to make money, but the thing we have in Siege right now is more and more monetization and less content, right? We've got the season pass, and we've got the battle pass, and then we have these seasonal events, which are all there to sell the skins, and they're expensive. Like this last set, they were £84 if you wanted to buy them under UK money. That's $100. I've seen other people mention $75. That's expensive for a set of skins, really. So having just one more monetization stream added on, it's not a bad thing for most players. You can choose to buy them if you want to. You can choose to put money into the game if you want to. It's all optional, and it's just cosmetic. And let's be fair, for most cosmetics, it's not an element that affects the gameplay. For some, when we're talking about Ember Rise, that's really good camo, and it does work. So there is an element of pay to win just a little bit. But for most skins, let's be perfectly fair, it isn't. It's perfect. It's 100% optional. It's there if you want to, and you can buy it if you want to. It just leaves just that little bit of an uncomfortable feeling in my mind when it's just, hey, we have this one more thing of monetization at a time when, well, from next season onwards, we're only going to get one operator every season. This whole year, whole of year 5, we're not getting any new maps. It's just less content and more monetization. And that's been a trend for over a year now, right? Last year, we started out with no new guns being added at all to any operator. Then we go down to one operator per season. Then we get no new maps at all. It's just, yeah, that's it. I've said it. More monetization, less content, and it's kind of like, it's not a great feeling. But at the same time, I do respect everything they're adding to the game, and I'm happy to see that. And hopefully for most players, there is that sort of self-control that you know how much you can and want to spend on in-game items. I've heard stories of people spending thousands on Siege over the years. It's down to everyone, literally, how much you can and want to spend for yourself. Something I do want to mention that wasn't mentioned in the stream is that I've seen some stuff about Kali getting the SP SMG-9, which is basically Clash's submachine gun as a secondary weapon, which is, I think, a bit of a buff, because the SP SMG-9 is definitely, let's go back to there and watch that again. Here we go. The SP SMG-9 is, I think, a better submachine gun than the C75, so that's a little buff to Kali. I don't know why they didn't mention it. Maybe it's just a minor thing, but I think that's also interesting. I don't think it will make a huge amount of difference to Kali, because with Kali the problem is with her main weapon and her main gadget. It's the way it is right now. It's not suited to Rainbow Six, in my personal opinion. It's not competitive, and it's not something that can be easily balanced. Because I played an early version of Kali once upon a time, and you had a faster ADS. So you had an ADS like other guns, and the thing there was that because of the fast ADS, you could almost quickscope. You could walk in, quickscope, bang, shoot, and every shot was at least a down. And that was very powerful. Like, that made her really competitive, but also really frustrating, because anyone who comes up against her has the potential to die in one shot. And so when they finally released her, she was released with a really, really slow ADS time, and yeah, has made her toothless in my eyes. It's made her frustrating to play. It's made her not that great. I mean, you can only hold an angle for so long. At some point, you're going to have to push. The C75 wasn't great at that. It was okay, but not great. The SPSMG9 hopefully will make that a little bit better, but will that make Kali a must-pick and Pro League and Champion rank level? I don't think so. I don't think so. And you know what? At the end of the day, does every operator need to be Pro League viable? I guess not. Like, you can have operators with niche functionality. You can have operators that are mostly there for fun. That's okay. It's okay to have those kind of operators. I just feel like Kali has and will be, certainly for the foreseeable future, kind of like a nothing operator. An operator that doesn't bring much to the table and isn't actually that fun to play. So it's nice that they're making a little tweak. It wasn't announced, so I'm assuming that tweak is coming, but no guarantees. But it's a decent move. Let me look at some of your... Yes, you're mentioning Tachanka. I mean, we heard about Tachanka right at the beginning of the year. At the Invitational, they showed off Tachanka and his rework. They didn't say when he was coming. I'm guessing at this point that he wasn't intended to come out during this season. I'm not sure. Did they say which season? I don't think so. Because, I mean, they came out right at the beginning of this reveal and said, hey, sorry, we can't actually give you the replay system and the ping system because we've all been working from home and it's caused delays, and I think that's fair. And I think if Tachanka had been expected for this season, they would have just said, sorry, Tachanka's coming later. But they didn't, which to me then means, and I don't actually remember this, but I'm pretty sure that it was mentioned that Tachanka would be coming this year, but not necessarily which season. At least that's what I'm assuming. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Tachanka. It's going to be interesting to see him come out with his new functionality and see him be useful in the game. But at the same time, I don't actually think that we're missing him right now. Possibly next season. I would expect him maybe next season, but possibly even later in the year. I'm expecting him this year, but I think there weren't any guarantees made. So, yeah, it's okay. I'm alright with that. There's enough changing this season. I mean, we're getting the AK-12 with an ACOG. That's interesting. We're getting the AK-12 on a 2-speed operator. That's very interesting. We're getting a really nice change to Amaru, which makes her hopefully useful. So I'm not disappointed to not see him. I'm okay with that. If he's coming next season, and actually it makes perfect sense. Let me wind back one more step. Next season is the first season that we're only getting one new operator, so doesn't it make sense that if we're getting one new operator every season, we'll also get one reworked operator, hopefully, fingers crossed, every season? And wouldn't it be the perfect season to introduce Tachanka, where it's like, okay, sorry, this season we're giving you one operator instead of two, but here is also the completely reworked Tachanka, which essentially is going to be one brand new operator. So I would expect him next season. As for Tachanka, patch nodes are out. Excellent. Good. People are saying Warden P90. Really? That's interesting. I've not seen that. They didn't mention that. And actually, yeah, let me maybe see if we can find those patch nodes. There we are. Excellent. Right, thank you for the tips there, everyone. Let's actually then look through what these patch notes can tell us that we haven't seen in the stream so far, because there could be some additional information. Obviously, here we have the operators. We know we've gone through that. Confirmed 2 armor, 2 speed with the AK-12 with an ACOG. That is equally intriguing, but also slightly scary. Melusi, yeah, she's a 3 speed. And she has a very useful gadget. Amaru, yeah, we've talked about Amaru, so that's quite cool. Secondary gadget, proximity alarm, that's good to know. Unified MMR, champions rank, we discussed that as well. You know what? I'm okay with this elite. It looks quite cool. I'm all right with that. Operator price decrease, yes, that's a seasonal thing that happens every time. Operator balancing, let's see. So, Clash's SMG will switch from having a red dot to using the Reflexes green triangle. Okay, well that's cool, I guess. Which makes perfect sense if Kali is getting access to her, to that. Yes, there we go. There we go. So we'll get to that in a bit. So there we go. So that's a benefit for Clash and also going forward for Kali. Echo removed the camera shake effect from Yokai's concussion effect. Okay. Length of the concussion effect is no longer affected by movement. It now has a fixed duration of 10 seconds and the intensity of the vision disruption stays fixed throughout the effect. And replace the deployable shield with impact grenades. So I'm seeing... Overall, I'm seeing a nerf here, actually, and a quality of life improvement. So taking out the camera shake effect from Yokai's drone, that makes the stun a little less annoying and a little less powerful. That's not a bad thing. Fixing the duration, I think it's possibly a nerf, but also a quality of life change, because so many players didn't understand that when you move, and especially the faster you move after getting echo stunned, the longer the effect will last. That's now going away. I think that's a good move overall. Keeping it consistent helps reduce confusion, and Rainbow Six is confusing enough as it is. Taking away the deployable shield and giving him an impact grenade, that's a nerf. That's a significant nerf. I mean, Echo is the quintessential anchor. He hides away somewhere, he waits for the attackers to come in, and then he uses his drones. And also, I mean, having that shield, it can help him hide, it can help him stay safe until the attackers push. And also the shield with its slits, with its vision slits right now, it's a powerful defensive gadget. Taking that away, impact grenades are cool, but taking that away, I think that's a nerf to Echo. Not maybe a huge one, but a definite nerf. Let's have a look. Finker increases base HP to 30 from 5 for teammates revived by Finker's nano boost. Okay. Downbid node outplayers will stand up with 50 HP, 30 from own base HP, plus 20 from the Finker boost. Finker's getting a buff. That's it. That's just a buff. She has all of these effects she has, and in theory, she could resurrect and revive up to four of her teammates at the same time. If four of your teammates are downed but not out, you can revive them all at the push of a button from spawn if you wanted to. And now instead of just having 5 plus 20 HP, they're going to 30 plus 20. Okay, yeah, Finker's getting buffed. One of the best performing operators. She doesn't have a great pick rate, but one of the best performing operators since she's been introduced is getting a buff. All right, I mean, unexpected, but okay then, is all I can say. That added the LFP 586 secondary to the loadout for Kaid. Interesting. Okay, so now you no longer have to use the 44 Magnum, which was a very, very good gun when it came out and has been nerfed significantly. Now you can use the LFP if you want to. If you don't want that zoom, if you don't want that massive recoil, I think that's a good move. Again, more choice is better. You can still use the 44 Magnum if you want, but now you also get the choice of the LFP 586, which is the French revolver. Yep, I'm up for that. Kali, reduced LV explosive lances fuse time to 1.5 seconds down from 2.5 seconds. Okay, fair enough. It sticks around just a little bit shorter, 1 second less to detonate once it is burrowed in. That's a little bit of a buff. Improved the CSRX 300's recoil through reduced weapon climb after each shot. Okay, so we have a reduction in vertical recoil, making the gun maybe a little bit easier to fire and a little bit easier to chain shots. Plus also, you will now have the option of the CZ75 Auto, plus also, instead of the P22 Mark V, it is now the SP SMG9, like I discussed earlier. I think that's definitely as a buff, and it now gives you the choice. The C75 Auto, it's not actually a bad gun. The thing that makes that gun so challenging is the abysmally horrible, ugly iron sights. They're so bad. And now you have the SP SMG9 instead, which I think is a superior weapon, and you can choose between the two. Fair enough. Nomad added the PRB, the PR8 92. That's the PRB 92. It's the PRB 92 secondary weapon to the loadout. Okay. Which pistol did Nomad have before? That's throwing me for a loop now. Let me check that. Nomad R6. Let's check the wiki. Or let's just check the operator, the official operator view. Ah, of course, Nomad. I'm a total idiot. Of course, she had the same guns, certainly in terms of secondary, as Kaid. So she had the 44 Magnum before, and now she gets the PRB 92, which is essentially Capitão's pistol, the unsuppressed version of Caveira's gun, but also working completely different without the downing effect, without the suppressor and everything. So the standard version that Capitão has been using since launch, she now gets that one as an option. Okay, again, more choice. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing in any way at all. Oryx is getting changed. Brand new operator, and is already getting some balancing changes. Reduced damage taken when dashing through walls to 5, down from 10. Okay, yep, that's fair enough. I think a lot of people have been calling for this. Losing health just made him not great for creating rotations, and now the way they've done it, you're still going to lose a little bit of health, but not as much as before. He's losing his bulletproof camera, and he's getting the proximity alarm instead. Again, that could make him interesting for ambushes. Set up the proximity alarm somewhere, wait somewhere, then burst through a soft wall and take someone out just as they become exposed with the alert. That's not a bad thing. Okay, I'm up for that. And added the angled grip option to his MP5. Okay, that's cool. I think that's really cool. So what they've done here, they've taken away some of the stuff that made him more of an anchor, and they've made him more of a useful roamer. Like the bulletproof camera for a roamer, yeah, kind of, but maybe also not. I think the proximity alarm is more useful in that situation, and the angle grip, the fact that you can bring your gun up much quicker, is, I think, a great improvement. I've in fact gone so far to put the angle grip on every single weapon that can attach it, and I'll be attaching it to this as well. Being able to aim in quickly, I've come to realize after that time when they accidentally buffed all of the ADS times, it's so useful, so powerful. I want that on every gun that can possibly have it, so good to see another gun get that option right there. Sage Media, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think the P9 is an unnecessary weapon choice? 6 operators with the same weapon. Shouldn't we be getting more rare and exclusive weapons at least? I agree. Getting more weapons, more different weapons, new pistols would be more interesting always. The P9 is used by a lot of them now. It's the French weapon, so all of the GIGN, I believe Lion must have it as well as a French operator. Now we're getting it here again. Yeah, it's interesting that a gun that is already so frequently used is getting used more when there's pistols that are maybe more unique. And I do believe I can only agree it would be more interesting to see more niche pistols used. But at the same time, I have to also admit that when it comes to these semi-auto pistols, they're all almost the same. Like, they have slightly different sights. Some of them are a little bit more powerful and have a little bit less ammo, but when you look at there's like this group of guns in the middle that just all melt into one, right? If I think about the P9 and maybe what is it, the Q929 or the P226 or all of these semi-auto pistols that kind of do similar damage and kind of have similar capacity, the same fire rate, the same recoil, they're all kind of this mush of guns anyway. They don't stand out to me. So does it matter to me that it's the P9 instead of the P229 or the P226 or whatever else it could be, the P229, the Q929? All of those, I don't even remember the full names and numbers because they're just all the same to me. So from that sense, it could be that gun, it could be anyone else's. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Would I love to see one of the lesser used pistols, one of the more unique ones, come out again? Yes, as long as there's no balancing issues. Or even a brand new gun, if we still got those kind of things? Yes. So I agree. Let's maybe go through here a little bit more. Ella and Zofia eliminated the mouse sensitivity modifier from concussion effect of the Bossack Sisters gadgets. I was talking about that earlier. Gadgets that take away agency of the player, that blind you, deafen you, make it hard to see, that mess around with your sensitivity are just really annoying, and there's no other gadget that did this. It's a good thing to see that go away, I think. The stuns that both Zofia and Ella use are powerful enough without that effect. They are arguably overpowered with that effect. Messing around with your sensitivity, that makes it really hard to defend yourself if you get pushed. So I'm happy to see that go. I'm up for that. Ying removed a Candela to bring it down to 3 from 4. So that's already changed on PC. There was a hotfix to get this done. Obviously, this change is now coming to consoles as well. Tweaks and improvements. Oh, there we go. ACS 12 new slug bullet type. Okay, there was previously an ongoing bug that allowed the ACS 12 to do too much destruction too quickly. We've given the ACS 12 a new slug bullet type that should make damage more controlled and in line with our design intentions. We'll test it on the PC test server first, so please leave us your feedback. That's kind of vague, but also kind of intriguing. A new slug bullet type, so not the same slugs that we see on Vigil and Dockerby's gun, or not the same slugs we see on, obviously, the TCS G12, which is used by Kaid, or also Alibi. No, not Alibi. Alibi gets the ACS 12. It's Kaid and Goyo. There we go. I knew it was 2 operators. So it's a new slug type bullet that makes damage more controlled and also the destruction more controlled. Okay. It's a full auto, large mag shotgun that now fires slugs. That's almost like a really powerful full auto rifle. I'm really interested to see how this new ammunition works. What will be the drop-off range? How dangerous is this thing at range now? What will the recoil be? Can you actually use it effectively and land all your shots as it's going off? It's hard to say without having played it. So at this point, I'm going to say I'm intrigued, because I'll tell you what, the ACS-12, as fun as it was to just remodel the entire side, just blow out entire walls, it's not something that I ever used when I really wanted to play seriously. It's not something that most players used when they wanted to play seriously, especially since Alibi and Maestro also have a shotgun pistol that they can use. So using the ACS-12, I think the ACS-12 is probably very underused, and this might actually make it more viable, more competitive, and hopefully still fun. So yeah, cool. Okay. Updates to the playlist guides. Let's have a look at that. The ranked guide will now reflect the current season, and you will still be able to see the ranked charm rewards. Okay. Audio localizations. Localization recordings for the operators Ace and Melusi will not be available in French and Russian for the season release. Even when the audio settings are set to French or Russian, players will hear the English voiceovers until this is updated. Players can turn on the subtitles until the game is updated later. Okay, Japanese localized voiceover for Frost and Capitao have been updated to be more in line with the current operators. Interesting. I'm guessing this is a current health situation effect. If they just didn't get the voiceovers recorded in time, they're coming later. All right, why not? Game health. Let's read. Let's read this last part as well now. Match cancellation. Match cancellation is now a new feature that will allow players to cancel their current ranked match under the condition that their team sizes are unbalanced at the beginning of the match. So if a player disconnects before the first round, or if a lobby is formed with less than 10 players, then the match cancellation vote option will become available for the incomplete team during the prep phase, and a majority vote can cancel the match. A cancelled match will show as cancelled and have no MMR impact. Okay, you know what? That's a good thing. That's a good option to have. I know it's extremely frustrating if you go into a ranked match and right at the beginning someone leaves, or there's been a matchmaking issue and there's only 4 of you on one team and 5 on the other. Very frustrating. If you leave the match, you're going to be penalized, so you have to sit out that entire ranked match. It's unfair. You're probably going to lose. It's not fun. Giving you this option now, it's a safety net. It's a safety net in case there are technical issues, and I think there's no downside and only upside to that. Props to Ubisoft for coming up with a solution to a problem that could be really frustrating. There we go. Changes to ranked clearance level and champion rank, we spoke about that earlier. You now need level 50 to be able to play ranked at all, and you must have 5,000 MMR, and also you must have played 100 ranked matches in that current season before you're eligible for champion rank, and that's just to deal with cheaters and make them a little bit less oppressive and effective in the game. So there we go. There is additional information in here. Thank you so much for everyone who mentioned this. It was great to go through this. All in all, my summary would be, I'm intrigued by the new operators. I'm a little bit worried about Melusi. I'm so looking forward to seeing Amaru. That looks fun. It just looks fun. Even if it's not super viable, even if it doesn't make her an overpowered, or no operator should be overpowered, but even if it doesn't make her the most effective operator, the changes look to make her useful potentially, but also fun, and I'm here for that. All of the balancing changes we've gone through, they look quite decent. I'm a bit sad that Echo is now getting nerfed. Was he overpowered? I mean, he was banned very frequently in ranked, so maybe nerfing him is fair enough. I guess I don't actually play Echo that much, but looking at this, I now will probably want to play him even less. So there we have it. But other than that, looking at all of these changes, I see more options, more choice, nerfs where they were applicable, but also buffs to operators that were not that fun to play or not that powerful. And overall, I'm excited for this season. It looks good. House looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun. That would be my summary here. I'm actually, all in all, this is really cool. So I'm gonna say I've probably been waffling on for long enough now. Thank you so much for everyone who joined in. Thank you so much for those who left questions and left comments. Very helpful, very useful. And yeah, we'll probably be seeing the test server coming up soon, and we'll get to testing some stuff and covering it then. Other than that, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video or the live stream, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.